Ladies and gentlemen, fellas, we are here less than 2 weeks away. We're mock drafting, and this is the legit stuff. I'm drafting from the 4 spot because I'm picking 4th overall in my home league, which has been going on for I would assume like a decade now, damn near a decade. There's a couple of guys in my home league picking in here. There's a couple guys from the Discord picking in here. We're waiting for one more spot to fill, but I figured I'd do the intro. A 12 team, just going to be 14 rounds. I don't want to do the full 18 to 20 rounds just for a mock draft. 12 team PPR, you're going to have 2 flex spots, 14 rounds, no kicker, no defense because screw those positions. Get them out of your league. They're in my home league right now. We voted on it, and just by one vote, people wanted to keep the kickers and defenses. A bunch of donkeys out there, but whatever, to each their own. We're going to be getting into this one right now. Again, PPR format. I'm drafting from the 4th spot. Appreciate y'all being here. If you enjoy this video, and these videos are going to start to get a lot of likes as the season is less than 2 weeks away, and 99% of people are now going to be able to do their league since we're so close. So please do hit that like button. It lets this be seen by more people. But the big one is subscribing within the video. I'll put the big old subscribe button up on the screen, bottom right hand corner, second your time. If you watch my content, it really does help it go a further way and reach more people. It's likely how you actually saw me. So I just saw the last guy actually got in here. It's 9 a.m. East Coast time as I record this. Gonna release it on Friday, so a couple days later. So if any major news breaks, right? If anything breaks as I record this Wednesday afternoon to release it Friday morning, the next day or day and a half, and you're like, how the heck did you take Tyreek Hill in the first round when he just got ruled out for the first 5 weeks or whatever, right? I'm just saying hypotheticals. That's why, right? I'm recording this Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday morning. It's gonna come out Friday morning. So if anything happens in these next 2 days, it's not going to be reflected on here. So I'm going to start this bad boy up. Like button, subscribe button. I'll be drafting off of the Supreme Draft Guide rankings, which you can get down below if you want to use for your draft. It's going to be linked right at the top of the description. Thanks to Monkey Knife Fight, you can take advantage of that offer. Rankings for your draft, top 150s, player profiles, key stats, all of that stuff. So let's get into it right now. I got my coffee from a little coffee truck outside, came today. I'm excited to do this. We're going to be breaking it down. I'll analyze my picks. I'll analyze some of the other people's picks in the lobby. We'll do this for the next half hour or so. Hopefully you sit back, relax, crack your knuckles, lean your shoulders back, rock real back, take your shoes off, do whatever you got to do, and enjoy yourself. So we are off and running, and the draft is started. As you would expect, McCaffrey goes number 1 overall, or at least as I would assume a lot of people would expect at that point. So let's see what we got here. I have up my rankings, and this is what I like to do. I have my rankings on my other screen, and I just start erasing players as they go, so I know exactly who falls through the cracks. You know exactly where you need to be and where your top optimal picks are going to be coming from in this one. So McCaffrey goes 1st overall. We won't pick every single pick, but we'll go from there. So it's only 30 seconds per pick, so I'll quickly analyze this. I have the 4th overall pick, and I assume this is how it's going to go in my actual home league. McCaffrey, Saquon, and Zeke. I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a previous mock draft that I didn't do a video for at this spot. I'm not against doing that. I'll take Kamara in this one and see how I feel about my team. I want to take running back here, so we'll go Kamara in this draft. Zeke actually fell to me in that last draft. He went 3rd overall. In my real home league, I would probably take Zeke if he falls there at 4. But I am actually going to strongly consider taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire over Alvin Kamara. That sounds crazy. That sounds ridiculous. But man, a 15 touchdown season does not sound out of this question now that Damian Williams is not back there. I'm not going to ever project that. I'm going to project like 8.5, which is pretty crazy for a rookie, not even counting in the receptions that'll be picking up in that high-powered offense. So Kamara's the guy who's proven. You've seen him do it. He's coming off of a high ankle sprain where he still produced last year, especially towards the end of the year once he started healing up. So we'll take Kamara there, and we'll go on with it. But let me know in the comments, what do you think? You're drafting 4th overall, McCaffrey, Saquon, and Zeke go in a 2-flex lead. It's PPR, all that stuff. Who are you taking? You're taking Kamara just to be the safe pick, or you're going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who just went 6th overall in this one? So I don't think it's crazy to take him 4th overall. I think that a lot of people will think it's wildly outrageous. I actually think there's a debate to be taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire as a top 5 pick this year. As you see, he just went 6th overall in this league. So you can see now that Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going earlier in drafts, as he should, since we just talked about, Joe Mixon is starting to fall to 10. Josh Jacobs is falling to 11. Miles Sanders is barely staying in the 1st round, sometimes leaves the 1st round. You get Nick Chubb in the 2nd. That start for Benny Frank right there, all the way at the 12th pick. I love picking at the turn. Unfortunately, I'm picking 4th in my draft. That's really on me. I could have picked the pick 12th, but I picked 4th earlier in the summer. Now you can see a lot of these people, some of them are my friends and they're just sharp people. They know what they're doing. And then some of them are just people from the Discord. So a lot of those just know my content and they pick a lot of running backs. So you can see a ton of people starting back-to-back running back here. Miles Sanders and Nick Chubb, that's a great start. Josh Jacobs and Eckler, that's a great start. Joe Mixon and Kenyon Drake, that's a really good start in my opinion for Connor. Mixon and Kenyon Drake, I'm high on both of those guys. But we're already, the top 13 running backs are already off the board, and we're not even halfway through the 2nd round. Cameron goes with Julio Jones there after getting Derrick Henry. Seems like a fine start. It's really hard to criticize any early starts. Back-to-back wide receivers is like the only thing I would criticize, especially when you see 13 running backs go in like the first 15 picks, because you know damn well there's going to be no running backs available when your 3rd and 4th picks come around, or at least not ones that you're liking. So I have to look at my board right now. I see some guys going. I assume I'll have decent options between Aaron Jones, Fournette, and Todd Gurley. I'm 3 picks away, so I'm locked into getting at least one of those guys. Right now I have it ranked Todd Gurley, Fournette, Aaron Jones, and Melvin Gordon for my best available running backs. If you watch my content, I go back-to-back running backs to start. You see Patrick Mahomes goes there in the second round, first quarterback now off the board. His teammate Tyreek Hill went the pick before him, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So this Chiefs offense usually is off the board by like the third round, at least the top guys, right? James Conner goes, who I'm not that high on. He's my RB23. So I have Todd Gurley, Leonard Fournette, and Aaron Jones still on the clock. I have it ranked Gurley, Fournette, and Aaron Jones right now in my rankings. I think I might actually test my rankings here and stress test them a little bit. I'm going to go with Fournette over Todd Gurley, which is not something I usually coin flip at 50-50. They're back-to-back in the rankings. I don't feel the need to bump Leonard Fournette one spot ahead in the rankings just because of this one decision. Sometimes I pick Todd Gurley there, sometimes I pick Fournette there. It's not really a strong stance. So I am analyzing these first couple of rounds pretty like long and deep, but I'm not going to do that for every single round. Just these first couple of picks are definitely meaningful, and then we'll kind of take some picks off and we'll kind of cut to different parts of it. But you can see Hopkins, I don't really like Hopkins, but he does go late, but he still has guys like Galladay, Allen Robinson, Godwin were on the board. I like those guys a little bit more this year. So my next pick's coming back around. There's still good running backs on the board. I'm going to pick another running back in my third pick. There's two flex options in this specific mock and in my home league, so I'm kind of trying to replicate it a little bit without all the extra bench spots. We're a 20-person league. This is only going to be a 14 or 20-round league. We're a 12-person league. So Godwin goes. So running back depth is going to fall to me. I could either now get probably Todd Gurley or Aaron Jones, and I'm definitely locked into one of them, and I'm going to take one of them. I'm going to start 3 running backs in a row. Allen Robinson is on the clock, but I just like the running back depth a lot more. Because if I can secure these 3 top running backs, in my opinion, that are going to be workhorses in their backfield, Fournette has no competition. Alvin Kamara has some competition, of course, but we know how good he is in the passing game and how much of a role he started to take on in the red zone last year when he was healthy compared to Latavius Murray. And then Aaron Jones, the regression is coming, but I'm not too sure I'm too worried about it. I'm hoping to get Todd Gurley here. Let's see what Thurman Burrell does. He takes Travis Kelce. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to get myself Todd Gurley at the running back position. And now I feel really good about this start. Running backs, yes, they were taken early in a lot of them, but there's still some good depth. Midway through the third round, people are going to get to land. Jonathan Taylor, like he just went. Melvin Gordon, Aaron Jones, these types of guys. So I have 3 running backs in a row. I can draft 4 in a row because this is a 2-flex league. So if you're saying, oh, why would you draft the 4th one? They're going to have to sit on your bench. That's not true. It depends on your league. If you're playing in a league where there's only 1 flex and you can only start 3 total running backs with that flex spot in your 2 standard running back positions, then yeah, it's probably not the greatest idea to draft 4 in a row unless you just have a value fall to your 4th pick, right? Some guy who's like 10 spots, he should have been taken like 20 picks ago, right? At that point, then it's obvious. So you see a lot of guys continue to go. Aaron Jones is really falling right now. People are, I guess, worried about A.J. Dillon's calves and quads at this point because he's falling pretty decently. He's my 16th overall running back, and a bunch of other guys are going ahead of him. I don't think he was taken yet. Oh, he was taken. Okay, so scratch everything I just said. He was taken by the 1st overall pick. McCaffrey, Aaron Jones, Godwin, pretty good start. I was saying, like, how is this guy still on the board? But obviously, for all of you pulling your hair out for the past minute, he was taken about 5 picks before I noticed. So we're about 3 rounds in, and my top 21 running backs are off the board. I only have 2 guys left in my top 25, David Montgomery, Cam Akers, and Kareem Hunt is right at exactly top 25. We have our 2 tight ends off the board, so pretty standard in terms of how this is going. I think this will be a little bit more running back heavy than most drafts you're in, although running backs are going to go early. Maybe 1 or 2 guys went a little bit earlier than they should, just because a lot of guys that watch my content are in here. They know running back early is my approach. I assume that in 12-team home leagues, it is the optimal approach in my opinion. You could debate your toaster and your refrigerator and your girlfriend and your boyfriend or whoever you want that 0 RB is a better approach. I think 0 RB is a fine approach if you're playing big tournaments to try and gain somewhat of an edge and be unique, but not if you're just trying to beat 10 people. Beat 9 or 10 or 11 people in a draft. You don't need to go that risky with it. The payoff is not going to be there all that much. DeAndre Swift in the 4th round by Benny Franks is a good pick. Benny Franks was in the other mock draft I did the other day. I assume he's coming over from the Discord. Benny Franks is a very solid start. Miles Sanders, Nick Chubb, Odell Beckham Jr., and then he goes and he gets DeAndre Swift, who Swift for me is not somebody I have as highly as where he just got drafted. Swift overall for me is my RB26, so it's not a terrible spot to take him in the 4th round. I actually like taking him in the 5th round when he's there, but he's getting scooped up earlier and earlier. So if you're watching this and you like DeAndre Swift, maybe move him up your boards or at least notice it a little bit earlier. David Montgomery goes. So a lot of these running backs are going. I'm fine taking a wide receiver with my 4th pick. I already got 3 stud running backs at this point, right? Like if Cam Akers falls to me though, I might be stressed to take him there and just secure 4 top running backs. But I'm looking at the wide receivers right now and they're good. Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Robert Woods, Adam Thielen, guys that I'm high on. I'm not high on Mike Evans, but if he's going to fall to the 4th round, I'll surely go ahead and take Mike Evans. And he just went at the beginning of the 4th round. So yeah, I'm probably going to go wide receiver here. I might even go back-to-back receiver. I'm at the 4-9 and the 5-4, my next 2 picks. You see some receivers are going off the board now. Cam takes DJ Moore. Cam's start is Derrick Henry, Julio, Le'Veon Bell, and DJ Moore. I'm honestly not a fan of Le'Veon Bell, but I don't think he's as bad as people say that he's going to be this year. Behind that offense, improved offensive line, it's kind of yet to be seen. New pieces on it, McGarvin, and then the rookie that they obviously draft. So we'll end up seeing what happens there with Mikal Beckham. Wide receiver run is going at the worst time for me right now, as you see a lot of people who already have 2 or 3 running backs snagging them up. Mike Evans, DJ Moore, Calvin Ridley, and Adam Thielen all going in a row. Robert Woods is still hanging around, so I like that. Amari Cooper, lots of guys are going off the board. I'll snag Robert Woods here in the 4th round. The A.J. Browns, the Terry McLaurins, the DJ Sharks are guys that I could probably get at the next pick. We'll see what ends up happening here. And Robert Woods goes. So I'm looking at it. I could take Juju here, but I might reach. I want to secure like a DJ Shark and an AJ Brown and a Terry McLaurin, 2 of those guys with my next 2 picks, but I assume a couple of them start to go. So I think I'm going to reach here, and I'm probably reaching like a whole round, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get DJ Shark. I have DJ Shark as my wide receiver 22, and there's like 5 or 6 guys in my rankings ahead of him, but I think that his ceiling is higher than most of them. Now, AJ Brown, I just took DJ Shark over. They're pretty close, neck and neck for me. AJ Brown's my wide receiver 20. I'm just trying to see how I can try and get ahead of some things here and hope down that at my next pick, a McLaurin or an AJ Brown falls to me ideally. Maybe even Juju continues to fall, but I like just securing my guy in DJ Shark there, who honestly I'm getting a lot of affection for this year and a lot of ownership towards. I think he can honestly be a top 10 wide receiver if all breaks right. I think that his quarterback is a lot better than people give him credit for. So I did pass up on Cam Akers there. As you can see right here, 8 wide receivers went in a row. Pretty crazy. AJ Brown goes to the 1. That's a bit of a bummer. Kareem Hunt goes. So I'm fine taking DJ Shark over a Cam Akers since I got my first 3 running backs. Juju went in the 3rd round, so that makes sense. He's somebody that I just missed taking off my rankings, but we're looking at it right now. Ronald Jones just went. He's my RB31. So running back starting to filter out. Cam Akers is still on the clock in the 5th round. I already have 3 secure running backs, so I don't want to do that. But man, he's still on the clock. Terry McLaurin is still on the clock too, though. So Cooper Kupp goes. I'm going to snag up Terry McLaurin here. It's between DK Metcalf and McLaurin. I'm just going to go with McLaurin. I think there's not a lot of target competition there for him. So I snag Terry McLaurin in the 5th. I leave Cam Akers on the board, but I feel okay doing that because I got Kamara, Fournette, and Todd Gurley. For me, are all workhorse backs so far. So I like our start. Our start is Kamara, Fournette, Todd Gurley, DJ Shark, and McLaurin. I would feel very good about this if this happens in my home league. So we're back. A couple more picks went off the clock in the 5th round. And honestly, so I'll zoom this up so you can see a little bit more here. Mark Andrews just went at the end of the 5th. That's a pretty good snag for him. He's usually going in like the 3rd or 4th rounds of drafts. More people were preoccupied with getting their running backs and receivers, as I think is the right move. But you see Ertz and Mark Andrews go. So the elite guys are gone. Getting DK Metcalf at the end of the 5th for Connor is a very good start. Connor's building a very good team here. So Connor's always in the Discord active. He's been mocking a ton. Seems to be very sharp. Joe Mixon, Kenyon Drake, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, and DK Metcalf. I think you got value at Mike Evans in the 4th. I think Allen Robinson is fine in the 3rd. The back-to-back running backs, I love that start. I think they both have high upside. Not worried about this Kenyon Drake boot. Not really at all. He was in the same situation last year, unless we get more info. So let's see what Connor does here with his 6th pick. I'm pretty curious. You can see some more wide receivers going off the board. My next pick, I have 3 receivers now, or I have 2 receivers and 3 running backs. It'll be what's best available at that point. I assume it's going to be wide receiver, just because the depth is so big and really so deep. So we'll see what ends up happening there as more wide receivers continue to go off the board. There's not a lot of running backs that I even have interest in at this point. Like, I don't have interest in running backs until like Zach Moss's, Damian Harris's, and those guys. Honestly, they're just being taken way too early for me to have too much interest. So maybe I'll regret not taking Cam Akers over Terry McLaurin. Cam Akers actually went the pick after Terry McLaurin, but I'm okay with it. I like that I secured just another stud receiver because at this point, my number 2 receiver would start to look like maybe Jarvis Landry, maybe Julian Edelman if he falls. I don't feel bad about that if I get a lot of quantity over just overall quality and upside, but I feel good about where we are right now. Downtown 77 takes Raheem Mostert, the worst player in the draft, so that has to hurt. I'm 1 pick away, and there's still some really good wide receivers left. Like, I don't really want to draft Courtland Sutton, but he fell to me. Courtland Sutton's on the board. Jarvis Landry's on the board. Julian Edelman's on the board. He fell to me at 25. I'm going to go ahead and just take him. I don't love taking him, but at the end of the 6th round, I feel really good about taking Courtland Sutton. I don't have a lot of drafts with Courtland Sutton, but he's normally going in the 5th round, or at least the beginning of the 6th. Him falling to me, I like getting all these younger studs. Courtland Sutton, DJ Shark, 3rd-year players that showed breakout their first 2 years. Shark mainly last year, and McLaurin as a rookie who was a number 1 graded rookie. I feel really good about my team so far. Nice young start at the wide receiver position with upside. A lot of big target shares for them. And then at the running backs, more so the veteran options that I know people are sketched out by Fournette and Todd Gurley. I'm personally not. Todd Gurley more so than Fournette, I would be sketched just because of the knee. People are overreacting to him limping after practice. They said on the field he looked fine. He looked fine on the field. He was limping a little bit after practice. I mean, it's football, right? It's fine. We'll see what ends up happening, though. I understand all the concerns because he does have the arthritis in the knee, or at least last year. They're saying that he did, although last year he looked completely fine. So my next pick is coming up in the 7th round. I have now 3 receivers and 3 running backs. I don't have any interest in a tight end yet or a quarterback. I'm looking at the board. Jarvis Landry's still there. I would actually snag my 4th receiver. Now, I'm normally one to just take running backs here, but I'm hoping a guy like maybe Zach Moss can fall to me at my 8th round pick, something that I can get some upside there. If not, I'm just going to wait and then just snag like 2 late round running backs like a Chase Edmonds, a Jerick McKinnon, those types of names. I feel good about my first 3 running backs. I would have loved to get a 4th or earlier on, but it would have had to be Cam Akers over Terry McLaurin, and I just didn't want to do that at that point. So we're getting some tight ends to go off the board now. Just the worst spot to take tight ends ends, in my opinion, in like the 6th and 7th round, but whatever. If you're still watching to this point, I appreciate you. Please do hit the like button. We're about halfway through this mock in round 7. Big subscribe button pops up. I'm on the clock right now. I'm going to go ahead and take myself some Jarvis Landry. He's still on the clock. I'm going to take him over Julian Edelman at this point. I now got 4 receivers, 3 running backs, and I like my receivers a lot. Shark, McLaurin, Cortland Sutton, Jarvis Landry, a lot of upside there. Running backs I already know. We talked about them. Kamara, and then we went in the 2nd and 3rd round, somewhat of a turn with Leonard Fournette and Todd Gurley. I like that a lot. So now my next pick will be in the 8th and 9th round. Maybe in the 9th round I'll look if quarterbacks are coming off the board, but we've only seen 4 come off the board. Kyler Murray's still available at like the end of the 7th. If he somehow falls to me at the 8th round, I'm just going to take Kyler Murray. I don't like taking quarterbacks before like the 10th round, but if one stands out way above the rest, like a Kyler Murray, like a Russell Wilson, yeah, I'm going to take them in the 8th round. That's just such an advantage, especially if it's like a 6-point passing touchdown league, which my home league is going to be. So we see some more wide receivers going off the board. This is pretty status quo. Julian Edelman is slipping a little bit. I think he's slipping a decent amount right now. I'm trying to look at the other guys coming off. Michael Gallup and Tyler Boyd. Those are fine picks right there. To give you an idea of the board right now, my best available running backs, Matt Breida, Phillip Lindsay, Tevin Coleman, and Zach Moss. I would probably take Zach Moss over all of those guys. Maybe not Matt Breida. You can see Kyler Murray finally goes. My best available wide receivers, Edelman, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones, and Edelman goes right away. So people are being a little bit sharp here. Crowder, Deontay Johnson, and then Debo is my wide receiver 39 right now due to the uncertainty with his injury. And then tight ends, only a couple have gone, but Evan Ingram, Tyler Higbee still on the clock. I'm not going to be taking them for a while. You can see Russell Wilson going at the end of the 7th round is a great spot to be taking Russell Wilson and Murray. And my newly crowned favorite wide receiver, who honestly right after the draft I did some videos and he was my favorite, him and Jefferson, but Jalen Reagor goes at the end of the 7th round. So pretty bold stance there by Benny Frank, but Benny Frank's building a solid team. He's got Sanders, Nick Chubb, you can see all the way here to the right. Sanders, Nick Chubb, Odell, and I'll zoom in on it so you can see a little bit more. Odell, Hollywood Brown, Devontae Parker, all upside, and then Jalen Reagor, all upside, and then he goes and gets Christian Kirk, one of my darlings, my best available wide receiver at that point. So he's building a very good team, 3 strong running backs, and now he's all the way up to, I believe, 5 wide receivers. Yeah, so he's in a similar boat as me. If I was to take another receiver here, it would be 3 running backs for me, strong ones, and then 5 wide receivers. I'm looking at the board right now, and I'm looking at Marvin Jones. He's probably my pick if he falls to me, another 5 or 6 picks. Outside of that, Zach Moss is still on the clock. Those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at the most right now. So son of a gun, Zach Moss goes off the board, and now some other running backs around him are going off the board. So yeah, I got 3 strong running backs. I might have to just pile up the rest of my running backs with late round options that I don't love because Zach Moss was the guy that I like the most still on the clock. Damian Harris I do like, but I just feel an 8th round pick on Damian Harris, who was just being taken in the 15th round. It's way too soon to take him. Somebody's going to take him probably in these next 2 or 3 rounds, and I really don't know where to take him at this point. He's taking all the first team reps. Sony Michel is hurt. I think that his ADP is like moving closer to like the 12th to 10th round, but he potentially could be a starting running back on the offense that always, I'm on the clock right now, so let's go ahead and get Marvin Jones. Didn't even realize I was on the clock talking to you beautiful people. I have now taken 5 receivers in a row. I've been doing this lately. Take 3 or 4 running backs in a row and then just snag all your receivers. And I love my wide receivers right now. So I actually like what we're doing here. My next pick is probably going to be a quarterback. Maybe not, though. There's still a lot of good quarterbacks. Josh Allen, Matt Ryan, Matt Stafford, Carson Wentz, Cam Newton, Tom Brady, Breeze. All these guys are still on the board, so might be able to wait till my 10th round pick. Maybe I'll go ahead and snag a tight end because there's still so many good tight ends. Evan Ingram in the 9th round. I don't like taking tight ends early to say, but Evan Ingram, his ADP is like the 6th round. So if he falls to the 9th round here at my 9.4, I'm going to take Evan Ingram there. So still going to wait on quarterback. My running backs, I have 3. I would like to leave this draft 14 rounds with 4 to 5. So I'm going to just try and snag late round running backs in Chase Edmonds and or like a Jerick McKinnon, Boston Scott type of guys. If indeed we do see Evan Ingram fall to the 9th, I'm going to take him. All right, so my 9th round pick is coming up. And I mean, unless I missed it, is Evan Ingram gone? Because I keep missing shit. No, he's still on the clock. So Evan Ingram's still on the clock. We're 2 picks away. I don't really like taking tight ends this early, but Evan Ingram is a stud tight end in my opinion. Yes, there's injury concerns because he's undersized over the middle of the field. That's all what it is, right? That's the risk that you take on a lot of tight ends. But if I can snag Evan Ingram here and then come back in like round 14 and just take like Chris Herndon or something, I feel really good about my tight ends there. I'm probably only going to draft 1 quarterback in this league. It's only 14 rounds. I'm 1 pick away from maybe snagging Evan Ingram here. I've never been this excited. There's no real running backs on the clock. I don't want Duke Johnson or Tony Pollard. Damian Harris is still there, but if he's on the clock in my 10th or 11th round turn, I could snag him then. Wide receivers, there are still some really good ones, right? Deshaun Jackson, maybe get him later. Henry Ruggs, maybe get him later. N'Keal Harry, depends on what your opinions are on N'Keal Harry. but I'm going to go with Evan Ingram here. If Evan Ingram goes, I really don't know what I'm going to do. So I hope he doesn't go. He doesn't go. Preston Williams goes. Evan Ingram makes it to the 9th round, the 9-4. I will crown that a victory in my opinion. I don't usually like taking tight ends there. I like to wait until rounds 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, but he's just too good to not take him in the 9th round. I think that's a very steal on my part in this draft. A lot of other people are going to have some steals with tight ends too, based on how many have been gone so far, but I do feel very good about that. And there you go. Somebody pulled the trigger. Who was it? Damian Harris, Notre Dame takes in the 9th round, so the 9-6. So yeah, he's going right around the 10th round now in a lot of drafts. You can see the quarterback run starts to happen here. I hope it doesn't happen too quickly. Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan go. A couple of guys in this rounds already have quarterbacks though, so I feel comfortable enough that they'll get back to me with either Carson Wentz or Cam Newton, something along those lines. So Henry Ruggs goes and then Carson Wentz goes. So two guys that I was looking at, especially the quarterback, because quarterback is slowly starting to thin out. Wow, Bryce Love in the 10th round. So I think that he's been drafting very sharp, Benny Frank, right? The guy who's got all these running backs, gets all the upside receivers, then goes and gets Carson Wentz at the end of the 9th. I like that. Bryce Love at the 10th, though, I get it. They're saying good things in the beat reports right now. They're saying he's working ahead of Antonio Gibson as of this recording. I'm not too sure I would take him that early. He would have been there later on. Jerry Jeudy goes right now in the 10-2. Interesting there. I'm going to actually ask Benny Frank why Bryce so early. So Edmonds just went, so now I'm even losing my late round running back options. I think Hunter Henry goes. I'm not really concerned about that. Jeudy goes. I don't really like Jeudy this year right now. I have him as my 60th overall player. Was featured in or he's going to be featured actually, spoiler alert, tomorrow. If you're watching this the day it releases, he'll be in a video tomorrow for a do not draft players as an honorable mention. Don't worry, nothing too crazy. But yeah, a lot of these late round running back options are really melting away here. Boston Scott and Jerick McKinnon are probably my favorite guys left. So I might have to snag one of those pretty soon. I'll get a quarterback here and then I'll come back around on the turn and snag one of those guys. Hopefully it's Jerick McKinnon still there. Kerryon Johnson, I think, is still available. So I don't love him, but if he's going to be like a 12th round pick, it's at least worth maybe taking a peek at. Adrian Peterson will start for a couple of weeks. So I'm on the clock right now. Matthew Stafford's still there. You're going to gift me Matthew Stafford in the 10th round. I'm not even going to try and risk it. Josh Allen is still there too. Oh man. Josh Allen in the 10th round or Matthew Stafford? Like, Josh Allen is way better of a player, I think. So, yeah, I mean, this seems like fool's gold to get Josh Allen this late. I like Stafford, though. Stafford's my 9th overall. Josh Allen's my 7th overall. Let's go Josh Allen here. And then maybe I just go back-to-back quarterbacks here and take Josh Allen. I don't really want to do that in a 14-round draft. Deshaun Jackson went, which was a guy I was looking at. I right now have, I believe, 5 wide receivers, 3 running backs, a tight end, and a quarterback with 4 rounds to go. So we need to snag at least another running back, maybe 2, and go from there. So more wide receivers going. Giants wide receivers in Golden Tate right now and Darius Slayton. I think Golden Tate's pretty sneaky this year. I think you can get him a lot later on, though. But yeah, I mean, you got a guy in Daniel Jones who loves the slot. And Golden Tate was playing out of the slot when healthy last year. Shepard was good when he was in the slot. When he moved to the outside, not so much. So let's see what we have here with my final couple of picks. I'm looking at the board right now. I think I might. Jerick McKinnon in the 11th is way too soon. We've already seen Kerryon Johnson go, so there's not much left here. I'm just going to snag my main 3 running backs. I'm going to keep loading up on wide receiver right now. I just don't feel comfortable going out there and just snagging. Like Boston Scott's there, Tony Pollard, Duke Johnson might be a decent option. So maybe I'll snag Duke Johnson here, but it just seems like a wasted pick compared to the guys that are still on the clock, like a Sterling Shepard, Sammy Watkins, Allen Lazard, N'Keal Harry, John Brown, those types of receivers. Now there's a lot of good ones. Brandon Ayuk, all these guys that I can probably get more of later on. Sony Michel goes. That's a really bad pick. It might have been an auto pick, though. By the time my next pick comes around, I assume more running backs are going to be gone as Adrian Peterson comes off the board. So, we'll see what ends up happening here, but I might go ahead and take Duke Johnson and just hope that he gets like 4 touches, 5 touches a game, or Boston Scott. So let's see what Scott's looking like. So Boston Scott will be screwed if they sign another running back, whereas Duke Johnson, I don't think they're going to sign another running back. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Boston Scott here. I think the other reason why I like taking Boston Scott, I need another running back, and I think it actually secures just Miles Sanders. It's not a certainty that he plays week 1. There's a lower body injury that they said they're hopeful and that they feel good that he'll be ready for week 1. But Boston Scott is going to see probably 6 touches a game anyways. And if he's going to be a little bit limited, maybe you get like 8 to 10 touches a game for the first couple of games, can maybe use him. I doubt it. But again, just need some sort of depth here at the running back position behind my top 3 guys. And oh man, Matthew Stafford goes at the end of the 11th round. That was Connor's pick. Connor's doing a very good job in this draft. I don't like Higbee, but he gets him in the 10th. So I like that. Like I like Higbee. I don't like the ADPs that they're going at. But Higbee in the 10th is completely fine. Now you're getting Matthew Stafford, so in the 11th, he was a top 10 quarterback for me. So yeah, I think my pick of Josh Allen in the 10th might have been a mistake, guys. I think I probably could have taken Kerryon Johnson or another receiver there. And then as it's looking right now, right, you don't really know what's going to happen. But as it's looking right now, I could have gotten maybe Tom Brady or Cam Newton with my 11th round pick or even my 12th round pick. I could have definitely gotten Stafford. He fell to the 11th. So did Tom Brady. So maybe that's something to note. If indeed Josh Allen's there again, just don't take him at that point. I like Josh Allen. I have him as my top 6 overall, 7th overall quarterback. So I did draft him based on value at that point, but maybe I could have waited a couple more picks. Not much would have changed. Like I probably would have still taken a Boston Scott type of a player. Some good players are going. Jonnu Smith goes. I like him a lot. That was the first tight end that Benny Franks took. He's a strong option this year. Jonnu Smith, my 12th overall tight end on the board. I think Mike Gesicki, he went earlier. So you can see some rookies start to come off the board, and Brandon Ayuk, TJ Hawkinson, having a very good camp, apparently, they say. So it's coming back around to me at this point. I mean, you still have Jerick McKinnon on the clock. Taking him in the 12th might be early. I only have 5 receivers, so I'm looking at the board as I'm 1 pick away. Allen Robinson is now off the board. A lot of guys are coming off the board in McCole Hardman and Michael Pittman. I might take N'Keal Harry here. I don't really want to draft Michael Williams ever at this point. So I'm on the clock now. N'Keal Harry just went, so that's a big, big bummer. Let's look at the wide receiver position as I only have 20 seconds to choose. So looking at wide receivers right now, I think the pick is going to be Sammy Watkins for me, unless I want to go back to another running back here. So let's go ahead and let's get Sammy Watkins. He's actually gone as well, so this kind of sucks. Looking at the clock, Mims is still there. Brashad Perriman's still there. Yeah, we've kind of run out of options here. John Brown is not there anymore, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get myself Bryan Edwards in the 12th round. Seems a little bit early, but I don't think that it is. Bryan Edwards is moving up my rankings a lot right now. He's going to start as the X receiver. I don't think Tyrell Williams is going to be there that early, so I probably wouldn't have taken Bryan Edwards this long if I had an extra 10 seconds to look at the board, because N'Keal Harry and Campbell and Watkins were all taken right before me, and Lazard. So Laviska Shenault is somebody that I want to look at as the rounds go on. Sammy Watkins was just taken, so I got screwed by the timer a little bit, so that's a concern. But now in the 13th round, I think I'm going to take Jerick McKinnon as long as he's still there. And then the 14th, I'll probably take a backup tight end, maybe not. Like if this was 18 rounds, I'd definitely take a backup tight end, a backup quarterback. But just for the purpose of this mock in this video, we'll keep it a little bit tighter there. So I think Bryan Edwards has a lot of upside as the X receiver. It does look like Tyrell, if he's even healthy, is going to be very, very limited now. Guys that are still on the board that I like at the running back position, it's really just Jerick McKinnon at this point. Not much else is standing out there. A.J. Dillon, Joshua Kelly were taken. I probably wouldn't have taken them that early. DeAndre Washington was just taken. So Laviska Shenault stands out for me. Denzel Mims, but he's dealing with a pretty bad injury, so I don't want to be touching that. So Shenault, Jerick McKinnon, and then just a ton of backup tight ends right now. Chris Herndon's still there. Blake Jarwin's still available. I'm probably not going to take a backup, but those are the types of guys I'd be looking at in like rounds 15 or 16 if there was more rounds in this mock draft. So we're a couple picks away. McKinnon and Laviska Shenault are standing out. Ideally, I would be able to land both of them. I have right now 6 wide receivers and 4 running backs. Yeah, I think I might go Laviska Shenault here, snag another rookie like I did Bryan Edwards. There goes Herndon. There goes Cam Newton. So it's about time that those guys go. I think they're very strong picks at this spot in the draft. Let me know as well if you haven't hit the like button. If you want to see my rankings, they're on the Supreme Draft Guide. You can get them down below thanks to Monkey Knife Fight. Go ahead, check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm going to go ahead and snag Laviska Shenault here. I'm assuming he's still available. Yes, he is. So I get Laviska Shenault in the 13th. Bryan Edwards in the 12th. Honestly, if I had more time, I probably would have taken Shenault at the end of the 12th and then just taken Edwards in the 13th. So right now I'm looking at my board. In my 14th round, I would be very, very happy to get Jerick McKinnon. I have a feeling that one of these sharp drafters, though, is going to snag him from me. And then at that point, I'd probably just take... There's no other running backs left, to be honest with you. So I'd probably just take maybe like Tony Pollard. I don't think still available. So I'd probably just go ahead and snag just somebody random at that point. Tony Pollard, is he available right now in the 14th round or the 13th round? Tony Pollard? There's no way. I didn't see him get taken, but I assume he's gone. Yeah, he's definitely gone. So let's see what happens here. I have a feeling that this guy who's drafting pretty sharp, Connor's sharp, Benny Frank sharp. I feel like one of those guys is going to take a guy in Jerick McKinnon from me. So let's see what they end up doing. I just have a feeling it's going to happen. He's too good of a running back value, in my opinion, still left on the board. He normally doesn't get taken until like round 16, but when you're in these sharper drafts, people are taking him as their RB4 or RB5, and that's exactly what this is starting to become for a lot of people. So let's see what happens. And Tony Pollard was actually taken in the 13th round. So yeah, he was taken pretty late. I don't really like him. I know he's good. I know he's a handcuff to Zeke. You need Zeke to get hurt though. Yes, he had some big games last year, but they were in blowouts. So I don't want to bank on him going off in the 4th quarter against the Dolphins in like 3 games a year, because that's not going to be that sustainable. So you see some good tight ends are getting drafted late. Noah Fant is being taken this late. Blake Jarwin is still on the clock. Guys that I really like, I think Dallas Goedert's still available. I'm not really big on Austin Hooper, but he went pretty late in the 13th round. That seems fine. Hunter Renfrow goes. I think that you're still seeing Brashad Perriman might still be on the board right now. Brashad Perriman is still on the board. So that's another option that I could take if I wanted to go with a 7th wide receiver and just leave the draft with 4 running backs and 7 receivers. I'm not totally against that, since I feel really good about my first 4 or my first 3 running backs. If this draft was more rounds, there goes Perriman. Denzel Mims has been dealing with a hamstring. So let me give you an idea of what's still left on the clock. right now you still have left in the clock my best available running backs: McKinnon, Armstead, Anthony McFarland, the rookie in Pittsburgh, Giovanni Bernard, McCoy, Malcolm Brown, like all guys who are a bunch of dust at that point. They're not worth drafting. That's why you got to get your running backs early, people. I don't know if Keyshawn Vaughn is still available. I don't really want him. Keyshawn Vaughn is still available, so he would also be another guy that's high up there on my rankings compared to what's left, but I'm still not that great about him either. So we're in the final round and McKinnon goes, so now I'm just leaving the draft with 4 running backs. It's a 14-round draft. Honestly, I need to get another depth piece. My 3 ones being up top very good, so I can pick up waivers all the time during the year, so I don't feel stressed about my running backs. I just like having 4 solid ones. Boston Scott being my 4th doesn't make me feel that solid. But again, the only other spot you were really going to get that was passing up one of these upside wide receivers, and I like these wide receivers in McLaurin, Shark, Sutton, Landry. I like them a good amount. Even Marvin Jones in the 8th round, I like a good amount as well. So I'm going to go ahead and just snag another wide receiver to close it up. Maybe a backup tight end in the 14th round. Let's see who's left available. Goddard, Blake Jarwin's left available. So there's going to be a lot of good tight ends on the waivers. Ian Thomas, Jarwin, those types of names. I have currently right now seven wide receivers, is it? Let's see. Yeah, I have 7 wide receivers, so in a 14-round draft, I don't need 8. I'll go to backup tight end here. I'll take Blake Jarwin, and we'll end this draft, at least for my draft, and close out the overall draft in these next couple of picks. So we go ahead, we're on the clock. Best available receivers are like Randall Cobb at this point. Denzel Mims to an extent, but he's dealing with a lot of injuries. Has he been taken? Denzel Mims has not been taken, but dealing with a lot of injuries. You know what? Screw it. I can get a backup tight end on the waivers right now. I feel good about Evan Ingram. Let's go Denzel Mims. We finish our draft with 3 rookie receivers: Brian Edwards, Laviska Shenault, and Denzel Mims. Mims is having a hamstring issue right now, so hopefully he can get over that before like the first month of the season, because at the 14th round, end of the 14th, really, it's a fine pick. So I'll zoom out right now. I'll edit this all up, so it'll be probably like a 35 minute video. So thank you for tuning in. If you watched this far, be sure to get the Supreme Draft Guide down below. I'll kind of just highlight my team real quickly. My team in this draft is going to be, and I'll pull this down so you can see just the draft board. There you go, very nicely. And we'll zoom in on it. So let's zoom in on that bad boy. My team, there's my beautiful face: Kamara, Fournette, and Gurley. We snag our 3 early running backs, and then we don't got to touch them for a very long time because we go 5 receivers in a row with Shark, McLaurin, Sutton, Landry, Jones. I feel good. Getting Evan Ingram in the 9th round. I usually take tight ends like right around here, right? 10, 11, 12, 13, maybe snag 2 of them, maybe snag like a Jonnu Smith and a Gesicki back-to-back. But having Ingram right there in the 9th round is just too good to pass up, in my opinion. Josh Allen in the 10th. I do regret this a little bit because apparently, I guess, people aren't drafting quarterbacks, so I could have drafted Tom Brady, and I would have drafted Matt Stafford in the 11th. Could have taken somebody up here. It doesn't really change much. I wouldn't have missed out on any of these guys. I wasn't looking at any of them outside of maybe Carry-On in the 10th pick, but it's nothing major. And then we finished the draft with Boston Scott and then 3 rookie receivers, so I'm shooting for upside in these late rounds, right? And that's what I would do if it was an 18-round draft. I'd continue to shoot for upside. So at the running back position, I'd start to take guys like Anthony McFarland, a rookie, right? I'd start to take other guys that are rookies, like maybe, it depends. There's not much rookies left, honestly, like Darrington Evans, the only backup, even though he's fumbling in camp right now, the only backup to Derrick Henry as it seems, and just snag upside. So that's where we're at. Let me look at a couple of other ones here, people that I know. Somebody just asked me Clown. So this guy just asked me, Clowntown just asked me, he doesn't really do season long, only DFS, but he wanted to let me know about his team. Adams, Carson, and Gordon. I like getting 2 running backs in your first 3 picks, ideally back-to-back, but it's hard not to like Adams in a PPR format. Thielen's a strong pick. Andrews in the 5th, I thought I commented on that as a steal. Raheem Mostert, I'm very down on, but again, if you want another running back, it's fine in those rounds. Getting him in the 6th round is not terrible. He goes a lot in the 5th round, but I don't really like Mostert. Gallup in the 7th is fine. Mack in the 8th is not something I would pick because I don't think he really is the guy in that backfield anymore, but he's being drafted like it, so nothing terrible. Aaron Rodgers and Brady in the 9th and the 11th. I would have gone with not taking Rodgers here, taking another position player. Henry in the 10th is okay, not really big on him, but Brady in the 11th is good. I just would have not taken Rodgers in the 9th if you're going to do that. Closing it out with Sammy Watkins is fine. Mike Williams, due to his recent injury, I'm not sure if you recently saw it, if you're watching this video right now, but he is going to be injured, and they don't know the timetable, so I probably wouldn't have taken him at all. And Cook in the 14th, I think there was other tight ends available, but it's fine. So overall, I mean, I think for somebody who doesn't pay attention to season long as much, maybe as DFS, and that's where you put a lot more of your time, not terrible. I look at Cam's, one of my friends right here. So CW Dean 35 goes Henry, Julio, Bell, and DJ Moore. I like that. I don't usually take tight ends early, but Ertz in the 5th is fine. He usually goes in like the 4th or beginning of the 5th, so it's a nice spot for him. I like DJ Moore in the 4th. I think the first 2 picks are okay. Bell, I'm not huge on in the 3rd, but I assume not a lot of guys were available there. Yeah, like Montgomery was available. That's like maybe the only guy I would have taken over him. Maybe DeAndre Swift, you would have taken over him, but I probably wouldn't have done that either. So it's just a product of a bunch of other running backs going. Antonio Gibson in the 6th, that's an upside pick. He's now going between rounds 6 and 8. Murray in the 7th is a steal. You get solid wide receivers that should have consistency and floors, even a rookie in Jefferson in that offense. And then higher upside running backs, the rookies in Evans, Chase Edmonds, third-year player now, I believe, Duke Johnson, TJ Hawkinson in the 12th as your tight end is very good. Even as your tight end 1, that's very good. And he already has Ertz, but I would have been fine with that as your tight end 1. And you could play TJ Hawkinson in your flex position. And then Hamler dealing with an injury, getting him in the 14th is fine. So yeah, those are just some other drafts in here. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. I thought Betty Franks and Connor's drafts were good. Joey's draft is good as well. Starting with Lamar and Saquon, you can't really knock that either. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please do. We're going to do another mock draft, the last one of the year next year. So if you're not in the Discord, be sure to get into it totally free if you watch this whole thing. Now you can get into it, link down below. My name's Vetri. Thank you so much for tuning into this one, and I'll see you in the next one.